Who hasn't, at some point in their life, wanted to be a mighty pirate? In the 90s, that wasn't really a viable career option. Thankfully, LucasArts stepped in and let us live out that fantasy, though without the blood, grime, and debilitating effects of scurvy. Today, we're going to take a look at the wonderful Monkey Island series. I'm Ollamh, and welcome to Geek Trivia. We start the series with the protagonist, Guybrush Threepwood, walking into town on Melee Island with his goal clear in his mind, to be a mighty pirate. He doesn't have much in the way of skills except for holding his breath for 10 minutes, so it's either start a career as a pirate or the porn industry. He meets with the chief pirates and is sent on 3 quests: find some treasure, get the Idol of Many Hands, and beat the Swordmaster in a fight. None of these is particularly easy, however they aren't completely impossible either. The treasure map he manages to get isn't clear, and the treasure is nothing but a t-shirt. The Idol of Many Hands is held by the governor and requires a lot of off-screen action and the use of a lot of insane items. The Swordmaster is hard to find and even harder to beat. This introduces the famous sword fighting, which isn't all about waving a piece of metal around. The key to winning a fight is insulting your opponent and responding wittily to their insults. After facing off against a lot of opponents, Guybrush finds his way to the Swordmaster and defeats her. This all sounds pretty easy, but there's a lot that goes into the quests, including being shot out of a cannon with only a pot to protect your head, drugging some ferocious poodles, and tailing a crotchety old shopkeep. Finally, Guybrush has all the things he needs to be a pirate. However, things do not go according to plan. The governor of the island has been abducted by the ghost pirate LeChuck and taken to his stronghold on Monkey Island. Guybrush has a deep infatuation with the governor and decides to mount a rescue operation. Even more trials await, such as using a voodoo spell to find the island, facing off against cannibals, dealing with a strange hermit, and getting some root beer that will destroy ghosts. Guybrush is found to be up to the challenge and eventually destroys the evil pirate and develops a connection to Governor Marley. Now, this game was one of the first to make it so that the player could not get into an unwinnable situation. It was also almost impossible to die. In fact, there's only one way to manage it in the game: stay underwater for more than 10 minutes real time. The sequel came out about a year later, starting off with Guybrush hanging by one hand from a rope with a large chest in the other hand. Elaine Marley rappels down to talk to him about how he got here. Thus the story begins. It appears that Guybrush was after the fabled treasure of Big Whoop. This game takes place on a tri-island area where Elaine is also governor. Guybrush has to make a voodoo doll, find 4 pieces of a map, and even bring back an old cook from the dead. Oh, and use a monk as a literal monkey wrench. Early on in his adventures, he shows off his treasure from his battle with LeChuck, the still wriggling beard. The man he's showing it off to steals it and brings LeChuck back to unlife. You would think that the resurrection of an evil zombie pirate would take precedence, but not for Guybrush. Guybrush gets to Dinky Island to meet a familiar face, Herman Toothrot, the hermit from Monkey Island. He also falls into a trap and is strung up with a cartographer that helped him with the map, Wally. When he escapes, he finds the treasure, and that brings us back up to the present time. Come to find out, the treasure of Big Whoop is an e-ticket. And Guybrush wanders around what looks like the underground tunnels of an amusement park. LeChuck tells Guybrush that they are brothers, which seems unlikely. Guybrush manages to make a voodoo doll of LeChuck and defeats him. The game ends with Guybrush and LeChuck as kids wandering out into an amusement park and meeting up with their parents. But LeChuck seems to still have some evil voodoo powers. This game kept a lot of things from the original, like the same sense of humor, but didn't include any of the sword fighting. The ending was also very different and kind of confusing. Again, you were able to die at one point, but Elaine points out that it couldn't have happened as Guybrush is alive and telling his story. It took 6 years for the next Monkey Island game to come out, but wow, was it worth the wait. At the start, Guybrush had just escaped the amusement park of Big Whoop. He's captured by LeChuck, who is attacking an island trying to get Elaine to agree to marry him. Wally, it seems, didn't escape with Guybrush and decided to join up with LeChuck's men and become a pirate. Guybrush destroys LeChuck's ship and escapes. He meets with Elaine on the beach and proposes to her with a giant diamond ring he found on the ship. Of course, wearing a ring that an evil zombie pirate had in his hold isn't wise, and Elaine is turned into a solid gold statue. Thus, Guybrush now has a new quest to save his, hopefully, fiancée. Guybrush finds out how to break the curse. He needs to get an uncursed diamond from Blood Island. But while he's finding out about that, someone steals Elaine from the beach. So now his goals are clear. Find Elaine, get a map, a ship, and a crew. He goes through even more excitement and troubles reaching those goals, including a caber toss, dueling with banjos, a ship crewed by monkeys, and impersonating a demon chicken. Finally, with everything together, Guybrush and his crew set forth to Blood Island. But nothing can go as easy for this pirate. His map is stolen shortly after setting sail, and he has to fight to get it back. Come to find out, sword fighting on the high seas isn't done the same as on land. Instead of just replying to insults, the replies have to rhyme with the insults. Guybrush goes through several levels of pirates and cannons to meet back up with Rottingham and takes his map back. He manages it and gets to Blood Island. After crashing the ship on the island, the crew mutinies and tells him that they're sailing back after they repair all the damage he's done. So Guybrush is off on his own again, which should be comfortable territory for him, really. Finding the ring he needs isn't easy, though. He has to deal with thieves, a hungover innkeeper, and his own death. Thankfully, as Guybrush points out, you can't actually die in a LucasArts adventure game. He breaks the curse on his fiancée, and they are happy again. Right up until LeChuck, back from the dead yet again, captures them. LeChuck takes them back to his amusement park stronghold and turns Guybrush into a child. Again. Thankfully for Guybrush, he knows how to combat the spell and defeats LeChuck. Again. He and Elaine are married and sail off for their honeymoon. This game featured a few new items into the series. It was still point and click, but instead of a list of verbs below, you had a circular coin option. You could look at things, use your hands on things, or use your mouth. This broke down normally to look, pick up and use, and talk, though you did have to eat a couple things as well. It also featured a few old faces, such as Stan, who will sell you anything he can, Wally, and of course, the Voodoo Lady. It also introduced a new fan favorite, Murray the Talking Skull. They also play around with the idea of ship combat as well. Now we jump ahead in time 3 years to the final entry into the series from LucasArts themselves, escape from Monkey Island. The happy couple return to Melee Island after their honeymoon to find out that the population is not very happy about Elaine's long absence. She is officially declared dead, and the governorship is up for election. Elaine has a challenge in the form of the candidate Charles L. Charles. Guybrush has to travel to Lucre Island to recover the Marley family heirlooms and obtain the legal document to save the mansion. He also discovers that the Marley family knows the secrets of the ultimate insult that can destroy a person's spirit. As he returns to Melee Island, they discover who Charles L. Charles really is, LeChuck. He's back and trying to find the ultimate insult, which means that Guybrush has to set off to find the pieces before LeChuck. Unfortunately, that doesn't go as well as planned, and Guybrush finds himself abandoned on Monkey Island yet again. While there, he learns the secret fighting style of monkey combat, and works with Herman Toothrot to restore the old hermit's memory. Through a lot of hunting and hitting Herman on the head with pieces of various different things, they learn that he is actually Elaine's grandfather. Guybrush figures out the real secret of Monkey Island, which is that the monkey head is a huge mecha, a piece that can be used to create a huge ultimate insult. LeChuck and Guybrush battle again, ending with LeChuck exploding. Grandpa Marley becomes governor again, and Elaine and Guybrush go off to be pirates again. This game was quite a change from previous installments. It was no longer a point-and-click game, but used the tank controls that were, for some unknown reason, popular at the time. While it did have an insult fighting section, it wasn't as long or complex as the previous games. The Mortal Kombat style fighting was met with mixed reviews, and it seemed that the series had come to a happy conclusion. And for LucasArts, it had. It wasn't until 2009 that a new installment of Monkey Island came out, but developed by Telltale Games. This was the point where they were trying to get all the properties that they could. They created Tales of Monkey Island and released a 5-part series. As this is not part of the LucasArts series, however, we're not going to be discussing it here today. I prefer to think that the series ended with Guybrush and Elaine happy together and free of responsibilities, other than pillaging and enjoying their booty. So that is a rundown on the LucasArts series Monkey Island. They were fun games that were heavily soaked in humor, puzzles, and memorable characters. This brings us to your thoughts on the series. Have you personally played any of the games? If so, which one was your favorite? Which characters did you love the most? If not, do you think that this is a series that you might be interested in now that you know a bit more about it? Leave a comment down below, and let's talk about this classic series. As always, thank you guys very much for watching, and stay tuned for more from Ollamh Productions. Cheerio!
Boom! Take that, bitch! Oh! She's kinda serious.
Actually tied to the movie series, with the protagonist Kyle Katarn stealing the plans for the first Death Star and transmitting them to the Rebellion.